Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff, the world stretching out below, endless and full of possibility. The wind whispers around you, carrying a question deep to your heart. Are you willing to let go of what you hold close? It's not a voice of fear, but one of gentle yet unwavering strength, a call that stirs in your soul and reaches past every hesitation and doubt. Have you ever felt this pull? The kind of call that invites you to step beyond what's safe, where trust grows stronger than fear, and where faith begins to see beyond the present. Beloved, this moment is your invitation to rise. This is a call to a faith that breaks through barriers, a trust that asks you to let go, and a surrender that transforms worship into a powerful, living flame. You're being invited into a higher place today, a place where God's provision, purpose, and plan are waiting. Step forward and let Him ignite within you a fire that no force can quench. Speak to those who recognize their uniqueness, the chosen ones whose hearts are attuned to the divine whispers in silence, who perceive His presence even in the mundane. This message is for you, marked by God's hand, called to follow a different path, to uphold a distinct standard, and to bear a light that the world struggles to comprehend. Yet, it's not uncommon to feel the burden of your calling. You may have experienced moments of doubt, struggle, or even loneliness. You carry promises that feel delayed, aspirations that seem out of reach, and dreams that appear distant. Today, I want to breathe life into your spirit. I want to awaken within you the timeless narrative of faith, a narrative that defies logic yet holds the power to transform. Consider the story of Abraham, a tale of unwavering obedience, deep trust, surrender, and the God who provides. Prepare to not only hear words but to feel the very pulse of God's heart. Allow this message to resonate with the hidden places of your spirit. Are you ready to delve deeper? Are you ready to be set ablaze with purpose? Welcome to your spiritual journey. If you haven't already, subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications to stay connected with God's Word. The journey of faith is not for the faint of heart. This journey is marked by tests, times when God's call demands everything from you, when obedience feels like stepping into the void with no ground beneath your feet. Abraham's story begins with a test of unparalleled magnitude. God commanded Abraham to take his beloved son Isaac, the embodiment of his hopes and the joy of his old age, and offer him as a sacrifice. Consider the weight of this request. Isaac was not just a child, he was the miraculous answer to a long-held promise. Yet, God asked for him back. Beloved one, there will be moments in your life when your faith is put to the test. It may require stepping away from something you adore, releasing what you hold dear, or venturing into uncharted territory. Faith is not measured in comfort, it is refined in the crucible of obedience. It is in these pivotal moments that God asks, will you trust me above all else? Will you heed my voice when the path is shrouded in mystery? Abraham did not waver. He rose early, prepared for the journey, and took Isaac along, placing his faith in God's wisdom, even when it appeared irrational. Radical obedience is not a passive act. It is a vigorous, unwavering trust in the higher ways of God. It is recognizing that we walk by faith, not by sight. Abraham ascended the mountain without knowing how God would provide. He only knew that God is faithful. Are you willing to trust God even when the path is unclear? Radical obedience does not guarantee you all the answers. It means surrendering to the one who knows. With every act of obedience, God draws you closer to His heart. This obedience embodies the understanding that even if you were to lose what you hold most dear, God remains with you. This is the obedience Abraham exemplified, a steadfast faith, an unshakable trust. His willingness to place Isaac on the altar teaches us a profound lesson in trust and surrender. Isaac was everything to Abraham. He was the joy after years of waiting, the miracle born in a season when hope felt impossible. Yet Abraham was prepared to lay Isaac on the altar, not out of desire to lose him, but because he trusted that God would fulfill His promises. Dear one, what do you treasure most? Your dreams, relationships, or plans may feel so integral to your heart that the thought of letting them go seems insurmountable. Trusting God with our deepest affections is often one of the most challenging tests of faith. It's easy to relinquish what we don't need. True surrender, however, means offering what we cherish most. God doesn't ask for surrender merely to take away. He invites us to surrender so that He can refine and bless us. When we release what we hold dear, we create space for God to work beyond our comprehension. Just as Abraham laid Isaac on the altar, we too are called to place our dreams, hopes, and lives into God's hands, trusting that His plan is greater and His ways higher. In surrender, we discover true freedom. By relinquishing control, we find peace. By letting go, we experience the fullness of God's provision. The call to surrender is not about losing, it's about gaining. When we trust God with our heart's desires, we discover that He blesses, protects, and multiplies beyond our wildest imagination. Will you trust God with your deepest longings? Genuine faith is not about holding tightly, it's about releasing our grip and inviting God to have His way. In that surrender, miracles unfold. As Abraham readied himself to sacrifice Isaac, God provided a ram in the thicket, sparing Isaac and demonstrating His faithfulness, Jehovah Jireh, the Lord who provides. This name reveals God's character to Abraham, a reminder that He sees, knows, and provides precisely what we need, even when the answers seem delayed. Beloved, God's provision transcends our understanding. There may be times when we walk in obedience, uncertain if provision will manifest, questioning if it ever will. But Jehovah Jireh sees the future. He is aware of every need before it arises and has already prepared a way. The ram's provision was no coincidence. It was a miracle set in motion by God, waiting to be unveiled through Abraham's faith. Are you facing a need today? Perhaps you feel uncertain about the future, where the answers seem obscured and resources scarce. Rest assured, God will provide. Just as He did for Abraham, He will do for you. His provision may not come in the expected manner, but it will arrive exactly when you need it. God's provision might not be immediate, but it is always perfect. As we walk in faith, trusting that God sees our needs, we unlock the treasures of heaven. Jehovah Jireh does not forsake His chosen. He meets every need, opens doors where there are none, and provides from unexpected sources. Let your faith soar, knowing that God's provision awaits your obedience. Faith is the force that moves mountains, the beacon in darkness, the strength in weakness. Abraham's ascent with Isaac was a testament of faith in action. He had no idea how God would fulfill His promise, yet he believed God was capable. He trusted that God would create a path, even if it meant raising Isaac from the dead. Beloved, when life presents its toughest trials, remember that faith does not deny struggle. It conquers it. Faith does not imply a life free of challenges. It means you are equipped to triumph over them. God has instilled within you a mountain-moving faith, capable of withstanding storms, overcoming valleys, and reaching summits. Though trials may seem daunting, faith will guide you through. Just as God accompanied Abraham up the mountain, He walks with you through each test. He is your strength when weakness surrounds you, your comfort when you feel lost, your guide when the way darkens. The faith that moves mountains is not discovered in the absence of struggle. It is forged in endurance, the willingness to believe even when hope feels distant. Let your faith be unwavering, for you are not alone. The God who called you is faithful and will see you through. The faith within you is mightier than the challenges before you, anchored in the unmovable one. True worship transcends empty rituals. It emerges from a heart fully surrendered to God. When Abraham raised the knife to sacrifice Isaac, he engaged in worship that surpassed any song or offering. Worship is not defined by what you give, but by the heart from which it flows. True worship places God above all, even above the blessings He bestows. What does authentic worship mean for you, chosen one? It is not about ritual. It is about a heart laid bare before God. It involves a willingness to place everything, our desires, plans, fears, and hopes, on the altar, proclaiming that God is supreme. Worship comes at a cost, but it is in surrender that we fully encounter God's power. Worship that requires nothing is worth nothing. When we hold nothing back from God, He withholds nothing from us. As we offer our lives as living sacrifices, we enter a divine encounter. Worship is not about losing ourselves, it is about discovering ourselves in Him. It's about becoming who we were created to be, walking in His love, purpose, and calling. True worship is a life laid down, a heart that beats for Him, a soul ignited by His presence. This is the essence of worship. When you embody true worship, the fire within you ignites those around you. Beloved, this message is not merely a collection of words, it is a call to action. It beckons you to rise, to awaken the passion within you, to embark on a journey that requires both surrender and obedience. What mountains will you conquer? What giants will you face? What valleys will you traverse? Let your faith emerge as a beacon of hope to those lost in darkness. Allow it to shine, for you are chosen, marked by God's love and equipped for this moment. Stand firm in the knowledge that His promises are sure, His provision is unwavering, and His love is boundless. You are invited to participate in a sacred dance of faith, trust, and surrender. What will you do with this message? Will you answer the call? Will you take the leap of faith? I urge you to step into the divine purpose laid out for you. Release what you hold dear, embrace the unknown, and watch as God's plan unfolds in your life. Beloved, it's time to surrender. It's time to rise in faith. It's time to walk boldly into your destiny, for you are a child of the Most High God, destined for greatness. Trust Him, surrender, and watch as He moves mountains for you. Beloved, if this message has spoken to your heart, stirred your spirit, or ignited a fire within you, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe to stay connected to this journey of faith. Let others in need of hope and encouragement find this message by sharing it with them. Together, let's step boldly into all that God has planned. Thank you for being part of this journey, and may God bless you abundantly as you rise in faith.